Good morning, everyone. We are Chav Zayin Amud Bet 27b at the bottom, the Mishnah. And here we go. Okay. Nedarim lehargin ulecharamin ulemochsin shehi teruma aval pi she'ena teruma. So imagine someone that comes to you, or to someone else, and he wants to, God forbid, kill him. And so basically, can you make a neder of a lie to save yourself, to save your money, to save yourself from the tax collector? So that's what's going on over here. Now, it seems like the question is with regard to food. Maybe someone could check the article exactly the case, but it seems like something like the guy wants to take your food, and this person is, either he's a murderer or he's a robber, and if you tell him, look, it's teruma, like you could take it, but it's teruma, it's not, but even though it's not teruma. So you could lie, and I made a neder, it's teruma, and that neder won't work. That neder won't be on you, because you're coming to save yourself. What does the exact cases there with the teruma? Like, I don't know how's that saving your life, but it seems like you're saving. I guess you're saving your food from this robber. Now, it's interesting. The robber is a robber that might kill you or might steal, but if it comes to teruma, he's not going to want to violate that. That's what we're talking about here, the religious robbers, or whatever. So they. Can you see what it says? The case. Just want to get the case exactly clear. One may declare a vow to murderers and to plunderers and to tax collectors to support his claim that the produce they seek to seize from him is teruma. So they want to try stealing from him. Tov. No problem. We just started. So if a person wants to try stealing from you, and wants to try stealing this food from you, or this, maybe, in one hand you might think it's a sandwich, but they might want to take a whole thing of grain from you, and you say, I don't really know it's teruma, even though it's not. And you make a neder, it's teruma, even though it's not. In order to save your stuff, if you're dealing with murderers, you're dealing with robbers, you're dealing with tax collectors, then it works. Meaning, it's not a neder.
Put tax collectors and robbers in the same.
Yeah, we're going to talk about it. We're going to talk about that one more. But yeah, in the same breath. Okay, so that type of neder, you're absolved from. You could do it, and you're absolved from. The next line in the Mishnah, and then we'll read some runs. Shen shel bet melech, afapi she'enan shel bet melech. That they belong to the king, even though they don't. So he's like, look, you could take it, but you're messing with, this belongs to the king. So the guy might get scared, the guy might. So even though it doesn't belong to him, but you're doing it to save your stuff. So we're going to see the opinions of Bet Shammai and Bet Hillel. Well, let's read it now, and then we'll do the run. So Bet Shammai Omrim, Bakol Nodrin, Chutz mi b'shavua. You could do any type of neder, you just can't make a shavua. And Bet Hillel Omrim af b'shavua. Bet Hillel says, yes, you could even do a shavua. Okay, let's see the run. The run at the bottom of the last page, Chazan Uvet, Nodrin leharagin lelistim Yisrael shehorgin b'nei adam. Robbers, Jewish robbers that would even kill. So they'd be worried about teruma, even though they're not worried about murder. Okay, everyone's got different priority lists. Lacharamin, machrimin v'sholalin. They steal. Ulmochsin, lipater min hameches, to get yourself out of taxes. So you're making this neder to get out. Now, as I said, the Ran's going to discuss this. Now, the Gemara is going to discuss it. Chutz mi b'shavua, the Ran, techamirak dichtiv ba lo yinakeh. We already learned that shavua is more stringent because it says in the pasuk lo yinakeh. You're not going to be free from a false shavua. So here Bet Shammai says don't make a shavua. So if the guy knows the halacha, he says, hey, make a shavua. That this is teruma. According to Bet Shammai, you can't make a shavua, and I guess your stuff's going to get stolen. Bet Hillel says you could even make a shavua that it's teruma even though it's not.
Should be allowed. Pikuach nefesh. Right? He's gonna get killed.
So it doesn't seem like they're going to get killed here. It seems like these are murderers, but they want your stuff.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, pikuach nefesh, of course, you could do what you got to do, but it seems like they're going to take your stuff.
So you can say that for it to not be stolen by them?
To not be stolen. Yeah.
And according to them, it will be considered as shua?
No, so it's not going to be considered shavua, meaning when you walk away, you didn't, the guy walks away, he's okay, fine, I'll get steal from someone else. It's still your stuff, it doesn't belong to Teruma, it doesn't belong to the king, etc. There's a Tosfot here that I underlined. I saw it last night. Yeah, so the Tosfot asked the question, what about these, what's wrong with these tax collectors? It was a type of tax collector that was out of line tax collector. Now he's asking a different angle, like, okay, so a guy that's robbing you, he won't want to eat teruma, but a guy that's taking taxes, he doesn't care if teruma or not teruma. I'll take this for the taxes. So it seems as well that there was, he wouldn't want to take teruma as well. Okay. We'll see more about it. Let's go to the Gemara. Let's continue the Mishnah. Second line in Chav Chet Amud Aleph. Bet Shammai omrim lo yiftach lo beneder, uBet Hillel omrim af yiftach lo. The question is, can you now initiate? I'll even make a neder that it's teruma. The guy didn't ask for a neder. The guy says, "Hey, give me your food. I'm here to rob you. Give me your food. Give me all the grain." So you say it's teruma, and now can you open up? I say I'll even make a promise that it's teruma. So Bet Shammai says no, you can't unless the guy tells you make a promise, and then you can make a promise. But you can't initiate. Bet Hillel says you could even initiate to say I'll make a neder. Another machloket. Bet Shammai omrim b'ma shehu madiro, uBet Hillel omrim af b'ma she'en madiro. Bet Shammai says you have to make a neder on what he makes you swear, on what the subject is. Bet Hillel says even on what's not part of the subject. What does that mean? Ketzad, what's the case? Amar lo, amor kunam ishti nehenitli. So the guy tells him, the robber tells him, make a promise that your wife can't benefit from you. Make a promise that your wife can't benefit from these things. And the guy adds and says, not only my wife can't benefit from it, my wife, not my children. That's what Bet Hillel says. You could even add to try to save your stuff from this guy. So you could even add. Bet Shammai omrim. So if a person did that, now that you added, now the guy went away, and you made a neder, my wife and kids can't benefit from this. Bet Shammai omrim ishto muteret ubanav asurim. Bet Shammai therefore says you were only allowed for your wife to make that type of neder, because that's what he was asking for. He says, "Oh yeah, if you is it indeed teruma? So now make a promise that your wife can't benefit from it." And he makes a promise, and he adds his kids. So now the guy walks away. The promise on the wife is nothing, but the promise on the kids is something, and the kids can't benefit from it. Bet Hillel says both of them, it's allowed from them to use the total neder, even if you initiated the neder, even if you added to the neder, it works in order to save your stuff. Okay. Okay, Gemara. The Amar Shmuel, Dina de Malchuta Dina. Shmuel asks a question. Famous law, Dina de Malchuta Dina. The law of the land is the law. So the question here is, what's with the taxes? Why are you not paying your taxes to evade the guy that wants to rob you, the guy that wants to kill you, or he's a type of robber that would kill? So yeah, okay, fine. We understand. You want to save your stuff. This guy's doing one wrong, and now I guess you can make a type of neder that could get you out of it. And by the way, these nedarim would fall in line with the earlier nedarim that we spoke about, where the you didn't intend for it, right? Because even in the business one, you said 5 and the guy said 3, and really you meant 4, or was it 4 and 2 and you meant 3? So you knew that wasn't your intention. So therefore, a neder without the right intention would make it gone. So that's what's going on over here. Where I'm saying it's a neder that it's teruma, but and you're only saying it really to save your stuff. So that's fine. So, but what about the taxes? The law of the land is the law, and you got to you have the law of the land. Dina de Malchuta Dina. Let's look at the first run on the Gemara, the first thin line. And how is it allowed the medar hachi to make such a neder, kedeli pater, to exonerate yourself? From according to the law, you have to give him the tax. What's going on over here? Says the Gemara, Amar Rav Chinena, Amar Rav Kahana, Amar Shmuel. Rav Chinena says the name of Rav Kahana, says the name of Shmuel. B'moches she'en lo kitzva. That's the first answer. And the Rabbi Yanai Amar b'moches ha'omed me'elav. Okay, we're talking about 2 different types of tax situations. And the first is b'moches she'en lo kitzva. Tax that doesn't have a number to it. Let's see how the Ran explains this. Continuing with the Ran. B'moches she'en lo kitzva. V'kevan sheken lav dinahu. Ela chamsanuta. It's rather, the word chamas, stealing. Chamsanuta de moches lav dinahu. So b'moches she'en lo kitzva it seems like there's no set amount, and this tax collector wants to take a little bit more than what's due. What's due? There's the law about that. What's more than what's due? The guy is a tax collector here. What's more than what's due is not allowed, and you could lie to not give him that. Or the Rosh adds that something that's not equal for everyone. Like, oh, you're Jewish, you have to pay more, right? So that's the first type of example where you know that the general tax is 500. The guy's saying 700. Why 700? No, you're Jewish, or your property is bigger even though it's not, or the guy's trying to make up something that makes you different than everyone else. That you don't have to give him.
Right. Here the Rabbanim mean by Haramim. The Rabbanim mean Roman tax collectors directly because they were charging extra and etc. That's what my understanding is.
Why Roman tax collectors? Well, I guess Dina de Malchuta Dina. Yeah, it's
the Roman time.
We're going to see in the next run, Dina de Malchuta Dina is referring to you're living in a non-Jewish land, and meaning you can't have a law of the land, but if the law contradicts the Torah, whatever it is, so there's no rule according to the Torah that I have to pay this tax. But okay, the law of the land is like this, so I have to do it.
But this is like the discussion is taking time
taking place in that time.
Hilal and etc. It's in Israel, and it's the Roman time. It's just just before destruction of Second Temple. Because Hilal is
no, it's after the destruction of the Second Temple. It's after the destruction of the Second Temple. They're in Bavel, Talmud Bavli. After the destruction of the Second Temple. That's when right after.
Okay, right after. but still they're in Israel and still Roman.
So no, so Teruma is the Mishnah. Mishnah was at the end. The Gemara is because the way I always remember that Gemara that I quoted the other day, Rabbi Akiva seeing the destruction of the Beit Hamikdash. Rabbi Akiva is a Tana, and they were in the time right at the destruction, and that was the destruction of the second Beit Hamikdash.
But
So
Akiva is a student of Hillel, so one generation difference, no? That's how I thought that Hillel was in Roman time. Akiva was for sure in the Roman time.
yeah, in Roman time, it could be in Roman time, but the Beit Hamikdash was still around. But Rabbi Akiva definitely saw the destruction of the Beit Hamikdash, second Beit
Exactly.
Hamikdash.
Also, this time is secondly there are two big problems in this time. One of them is Roman tax collectors, and the second ones are the Nostri.
Notzrim
Because it's the time that they just
started. Yeah, around that
We're
time.
talking about
Yeah, around that
60,
time.
70, this type of times.
Yeah.
Or maybe it's referring to them, like who is Harami.
Right. Yeah, so I don't know which era, but we're talking about non-Jew. We're going to see the next run. Yehuda Boker Tov, we are at the Gemara Chavchet Amud Aleph. We're a couple lines after the words Gemara, right by the two dots. That's what we're up to now. So, okay, so another explanation of the Rosh says that the tax collector is saying in the name of the king, give me more money, or give me whatever in the name of the king, which it's really just a lie. So that's where you're allowed to make a neder to save your stuff. And the second explanation says the Gemara is moches ha'omed me'elav, a tax collector who stands up on his own. Let's see the Ran on that. So we're in the Ran, 6 lines down of the thin lines, left side. Moches ha'omed me'elav. Shelo b'mitzvat hamelech. He's not commanded by the king. He does his own tax. So how does that work? We cut from the Tosfot. The davka b'malchei ovdei kochavim. It's davka by non-Jewish kings. Amar the dina de malchuta dina. We have this thing of you have to follow the law of the land, provided that it doesn't contradict with the Torah. Mipnei she'aretz shelo, and it's simple because the land is his. It's their land. And in Canada, whatever, they have rules. They don't. We're here guests, and we have to respect their laws that don't go against the Torah. And like for instance, taxes. Mipnei she'aretz shelo. Ve'yachol lomar lahem. And they could tell us, if you don't do my commands, I could kick you out of here. If you drive over the speed limit, or if you cross the street on a red, or like these are their laws, and there's no Torah law about it, but it's dina de mechuta dina. So agaresh tchem min haaretz. If you should Eretz Yisrael, kol Yisrael shutafim ba, but not in Eretz Yisrael, because in Eretz Yisrael, every Jew has a part ownership in it. So therefore, they can't say we're going to kick you out. So therefore, there's no law of the land. I don't know now. Tosfot this was written before the state of Israel. So I don't know if the state of Israel enforces taxes. Can you evade taxes? It's on recording here. Yeah. Anyway, so this is
Don't try it.
Don't try it though. Not advisable. But can they make up laws? And they say we're going to kick you out of here. They can't kick you out.
They'll kick you out. They'll never let you go.
Opposite.
It's opposite Israel. You're cool. You're never
exactly.
leaving. You're stuck for life.
Yeah. Okay, so let's continue in the run here. I'm reading that we said din de malchuta dina, the law of the land is the law. Hani milad li'inyan she'im kana echad meches zeh chayavim liten lo et hameches. So here it could be a situation where a person buys the taxes. They would have tax collectors that would, the king was busy, the king didn't have enough men, or people would have different communities. So a guy would say to the king or to the government, look, I'm going to buy this region. I'll pay you $10,000 a month, and I collect the taxes. And therefore, he knows he can make more money. He knows it's his community. He knows how to collect from them, and he keeps the change. That's it. That used to be.
Good deal.
Yeah.
It's not really tax anymore. Now it's income.
Well,
The question is, taxed on the income.
well, the question is that the people know they have to pay taxes. The question is who's collecting the taxes.
Right.
So if it's a Jew, maybe they'll be nicer. Maybe they'll be, or if it's a the king knows if I send my guys, they're going to be hostile to it. Especially back in the day, it was like door to door collecting. So the guy makes the deal. Look, I'll get you the money. Don't worry. And the king says, okay, I'll figure out the deal. And he makes calculations. Look, you got to pay five. Five. And then the guy knows he made some money off of it. Yeah. Okay. So that's a guy who does it on his own. So someone who does it on his own, so we saw already one shot is on his own completely, or on his own, and now you know though that you made the calculation. You're like, look, you're taking more for yourself, so I don't have to give you more, right? Now the example I gave was he's asking for 5 from each person. But if he's asking for 5,000 from each person, and you know based on the calculation, what do you mean? Now, our region is 1,000 people, 5,000 from each person, right? That's 500,000, right? No, that's 5 million,
25.
right? 5,000 times 1,000 is 5 million. So the guy makes a quick calculation like there's 1,000 people in this region. You bought this region. You're asking $5,000 each person. You made $5 million. I know the taxes is 4 million. Therefore, I'm going to give you 4,000. I'm not going to give you 5, right? So he knows this guy's coming. He's making some extra profit. He's making some. So So it seems like, and according to this explanation, that's what it means here. You could swear to save the rest of your money. וכי אמרין הדין אדם אחוד הדין, אני מלעניין שאם קנה אחד מכס זה חייבים ליתן לו את המכס. וכן נמי, אם לא קנה אותו, אלא שממונה לגבות את המכס. In other cases, the guy didn't buy the tax collecting rights, but rather he's appointed. שאינו רשאי ישראל חברו להישבע שאין תרומה דלקה אונסה, כיוון דדינה דמלכות הדינה. Some guy's appointed. שאינו רשאי ישראל חברו להישבע מהן, שאין תרומה. Another Jew is not able to swear that they're teruma. It's not an honest because understand this last explanation. Okay, but the second explanation is a guy is self-appointed. Self-appointed by either acquiring or self-appointed. The Rosh says easily, without knowledge of the king. Without knowledge of the king, the guy just on his own. Okay. Let's go back to the Gemara. Let's continue. We are the 2 dots right after the Gemaras. Shehen shel bet melech ve'afal pi she'enan shel bet melech. A guy makes this robber comes to take his stuff, and he says, "Oh, this stuff belongs to the king," even though it doesn't. So he said that type of neder, you could be absolved from it. So ask the Gemara, Heichi nadar. How did he make the neder? Let's see. Amar Rav Amram Amar Rav. Beomer yasru perot haolam alai im enan shel bet melech. How did he make this neder with regard to the bet melech? So Amram Amar Rav says, the guy says, the fruits of the world will be asur on me if these are not the king's. Kevan de Amar yasru itasru ale koper alma. So Gemara is now analyzing, like, what type of neder is a neder that you could say to get yourself out of it and then be absolved of the neder. The Gemara is offering a first answer of, all the fruits in the world are asur to me if these are not the king's. So you didn't have to say that. Now you just kind of made all the fruits asur on you. Or, so the Gemara says, Amar Yasru Yitzar Aleh Kol Peri Alma. So it says, okay, Be'omer Hayom, today. Like, if this is not the king's, then all the fruits of the world are asura mitareh. Idam hayom lo mekabel mineh moches. So the tax collector is not gonna fall for that. He won't take it that day. He'll come back the next day. Be'omer belibo hayom umotzi sifatav stam. So the Gemara says, no. He says to the guy, all the fruits in the world are asur to me if these are not the king's. In his heart, though, he said today. I won't eat the rest. I won't eat fruits today. But he doesn't say today to the guy. He says everything. The Gemara answers, even though in general words in your heart are nothing, but here because you're forced, because the guy wants to steal from you, etc., it works. So, I mean, the Gemara doesn't discuss the simple ways. Simple guys say, hey, I'm taking your stuff from you. I'll let you know, it's the king's. Really make a promise to the king. I make an that this belongs to the king. So that obviously is, okay, you made an this belongs to the king. The guy walked away, and now that stuff's for you. You don't have to, it's absolved. But if the guy wants more, and you say, if it's not belong to the king, I'll make all the food in the world asur on me. And I say, oh, you're making that type of idea? That's pretty big. You've really attached yourself to this, all the food in the world is asur on me. Did you have to go that far? So the girl says, okay, well, yeah, that is a bit far. But if you say, okay, all the food in the world of me is asur today, if this is not the king, okay, I'll come back tomorrow, right? So the guy, so then the Gemara says, okay, so then here's the case that you say everything in the world is asur to me if this is not the king's. So he goes, oh, that's pretty big conviction. But in your heart, you said today, right? So maybe that day you won't have the food. So then things in the heart aren't proper nedarim. So he said, because it's an honest, then it works. Okay. Because it's an honest, it works. I'll just take a glance at the run over here. Okay, let's continue. 2 dots. Bet Shammai Omrim. This is a quote from the Mishnah. A whole quote here. Bet Shammai Omrim. Bechol. Bechulei. What's this Bechol here? Yeah, Bechol Nodrim. Bet Shammai Omrim. Bema she'o madiro. Bet Hillel Omrim. Af she'eno madiro. Quoting the Mishnah again. The Bet Shammai says, you can only make a promise on what the guy made you promise. But he says you could add things. Okay, so what's the case? Amar lo kulam yishtiu v'neinitli, amar kulam yishtiu v'nai neinitli. Sham omrim ishto muteret u'banav asurin, v'tilo omrim elo mutarin. That the guy says, yeah, make a promise that your wife can't benefit from it. So the guy says, not only my wife can't benefit from it, my kids can't benefit from it. So you threw in something else. After the guy walks away and your neder is absolved, Bet Shammai says, yeah, but you added your kids, so your kids can't benefit from it. But the other says both are mutar. Amar Rav Huna. Says Rav Huna, Tana. Bet Shammai omrim, lo yiftach lo b'shvua. Bet Hillel omrim, af yiftach lo b'shvua. Can you open up in a shvua? Meaning, we said in the Mishnah that Bet Shammai says you can make a neder, not a shvuah. But the other says you could even make a shvuah. But can you open up with? You could open up with a neder. But Shammai says no, you can't open up with a neder. You can't be the one to initiate. I'll even make a neder on this. But Shammai says no, you can't do it. But the other says yes, you can. You could say I'll make a neder that this is terumah, or this belongs to the king. Now what about can you initiate a shvuah? So Rav Huna says there was a teaching regarding this machlok about shvuah as well. But Shammai lo yiftach lo b'shvuah. Don't open up with a shvuah. You can't even say a shvuah. For sure you can't open up. But you could even open up, initiate. I'll even make a shvuah on it. The Bet Shammai b'shvuahu lo yiftach lo. Habened yiftach lo. So now the Gemara wants to now use this as an inference, as a question on Bet Shammai. Hold on a second. Bet Shammai, in this teaching, you said you can't open up a shvuah, meaning you can't open up a shvuah, but if the guy tells you to make a shvuah, you can. And that's a question on our Mishnah, because you said in our Mishnah, you can't make a shvuah at all. So let's read it inside. LeBet Shammai b'shvuahu lo yiftach lo. According to Bet Shammai, you can't initiate a shvuah. Habeneder yiftach lo. But you could infer from here that a neder you could open up. V'atanan, we learned in our Mishnah, v'shamayim lo yiftach lo b'neder. You can't open up a neder. V'tu, another question. Miftachu de lo yiftach lo b'shavua. You can't open up a shavua, as we just said now. Hamedar nadar b'shavua. Hamedar nadar b'shavua. V'atanan bet Shammai omrim, echol nodrin, chutz mi b'shavua. So the second question is not only like, so the first, yeah, so it's two questions basically similar. First question on Bet Shammai is, you're saying now you can't initiate a Shavua. That means you could initiate a Neder. Our Mishnah says that you can't, according to you, Bet Shammai, you can't initiate a Neder. And in addition, it says over here that you said you can't initiate a Shavua, but you could make a Shavua. But you said you can't even make a Shavua. Two questions on Bet Shammai. That here it says you could make a Shavua and that you could initiate a Neder. And you say in our Mishnah both to no to that. Answers the Gemara. Tana matnitin ben Neder. Leodiacha kocho de Bet Shammai. Tana braita b'Shavua. Leodiacha kocho de Bet Hillel. So Gemara is answering that these two, the Mishnah and the Braita here, the Braita quoted by Rav Huna, Tana, it quotes this Braita, are working together. But it seems contradictory. So the Gemara is answering that they're working together, each one to show you the strength of each other. So the Mishnah is only talking about Neder to show us the strength of Bet Shammai. That Bet Shammai says you can't even open a Neder. Meaning, to say a Shavua, no. Open with a Shavua, no. To open with a Neder, no. Just say a Neder. So it shows us really the strong position of Bet Shammai. And in the Braita, it shows us the koach of Bet Hillel, to show us that even to open up a Shavua is allowed. So it's working together, not working in a contradictory way, they're working together. And therefore, to teach us that Bet Hillel says, not only can you make a neder, not only can you open up a neder, not only can you say a shavua, here in the Braita says you can even open up with a shavua. She teaches the strength of Bet Hillel. Rav Ashi Amar, Rav Ashi says, Hachiktani. This is what's meant to be said in the Braita. Bet Shammai omrim en she'ela b'shavua. Rav Ashi looks at this as indeed a machloket between the Mishnah and the Braita, and he comes to modify the Braita, and he says, Bet Shammai says there's no asking on the Shavua, but he says there is. Let's see what this means. 4 lines up in the Ran. Rav Ashi Amar Hakikamar. Rav Ashi says this is the explanation of the Braita. This Braita is not talking about swearing for people that are murderers or for people that are stealers. We're not talking about that topic. This is what we're talking about. Mish nishbal davar lo yiftach lo chacham lehatir lo shavuato she'en she'ela b'shavua. So this is a total different topic, says Rav Ashi, and the topic is, when a person makes a shavua, can a chacham open up for him a shavua? The guy says, look, I didn't realize, I didn't this. Can a chacham open up for him a shavua, yes or no? Bet Shammai says no, Bet Hillel says yes. That's the topic. So it's not contradictory to our Mishnah. Let's read it again in the Gemara. This is what the Braita meant to say. Bet Shammai omrim en she'ela b'shavua. You can't ask, you can't undo a shavua. That's how we're posek, the little you there. That's how you can open up when it comes to shavua. So Rav Ashi looks at it like it is a machloket, and tells us the Braita is talking about a different topic, whereas the first answer to the Gemara is telling us that the Braita and the Mishnah are working together. The Mishnah is showing us the strength of Bet Shammai, how strict he is. The Braita is telling us how strict he is, and the Mishnah is telling us how strict he is, and the Braita is telling us how lenient Bet Hillel is. Okay? That's that, and we will continue tomorrow night at the Mishnah.